And so to be able to know with confidence that God's leadership in John's life will be the best thing for this campus, that gives me such assurance. I hired John 6 months into my role here. I didn't know what I was doing, and you probably knew that. But a couple of those decisions actually worked out. And John is one of those decisions. And I can't tell you, getting to know this man, growing next to this man, and now being able to work with him in a different capacity, because guess what? You're not going to be able to get rid of me. As I'm the team leader, I'm still going to be, well, we want you. No, it's okay, right? I'm still going to be working with this guy and saying, hey, what can we dream up for what God wants to do in Lockport together? I'm going to be deferring to his leadership, and he's going to be running with that. But in this role, we're going to be working together, and I'm really thankful for that. And so today marks a season of transition in some ways, and in a minute I'm going to have John just share just a brief word, but Pastor Jerry also, since he's preaching today, he's at Crosspoint, he wanted to speak into this as well. So we wanted you to hear from him. Take a look at the screen.
Well, hello everyone, and thanks for giving me a second to say hello to you. And I realize you've just heard some news from Pastor Jonathan related to what's going on. But I wanted to lend my voice for just a minute and let you know that this has grown out of the vision that we have, this 5-year vision in helping to reach every man, woman, and child in our region. And that this part of our vision involved both Cheektowaga and Lockport and certainly Niagara Falls. And so this is kind of really, this announcement, this transition is really a product of people seeking the Lord and being willing to follow after the vision that God has given us as a church. Now, I want to say this. Can I just affirm John Grimaldi to you as a congregation? I don't think I need to do that, but you guys know him. This is like maybe the easiest transition I've ever thought about. When it comes to someone who's known, someone who's loved, someone who has a heart for God, and who is a solid leader of people. Lockport is going to be in really good hands with John Grimaldi being the campus pastor there. And we have a tremendous team at Lockport that is continuing on in helping to lead that campus. So I just want to affirm him because this guy is gold in my mind. Wonderful man of God, who loves the Lord, loves people, and you guys have known that because he's been in your midst. This is somebody who cares about Lockport, who has been in this congregation for some time, and so I'm really excited about his opportunity in this transition. And I also want to affirm Jonathan as well. Not only has he provided incredible leadership at the Lockport campus for these last number of years, but also his willingness to kind of yield himself to say, I'm willing to do whatever we need to do to accomplish the vision that God has laid out for us. For him to kind of engage in helping to launch another campus, I think is tremendous. And also his tether that's going to be to all of the campuses, because he's going to be functioning kind of a team leader role for all of our campuses. So the thing is you're not going to actually be fully getting rid of him. He's not going anywhere specific. He's still a pastor at the chapel and is still going to be helping lead in a number of different ways, but you're going to still see him sometimes at Lockport. They're going to see him sometimes at Cheektowaga, but certainly he's going to be spending a little bit more time at the Niagara Falls campus, certainly initially. But you're going to be in really great hands. So I just wanted to take a moment and affirm both of these men to you. And I know I really don't need to do it because kind of the proof is in the pudding already with both of these guys. But I just wanted to say I love them both. And I love the folks at the Lockport campus. And I think this transition is going to be fantastic, not only for the campus itself, but ultimately for the overall vision of what we're doing and trying to reach every man, woman, and child with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thanks.
So I obviously wanted you to hear from him, but I also want you to hear from John as well. John, would you just share a word real quick?
Thank you, Jonathan. And I just want to say, my wife, Kristen, and I, we're just grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve you and serve our church in this new chapter for our Lockport campus. When Kristen and I joined the family here 6 years ago, we didn't know what God had in store for us. We were just excited, and what we knew is that this people was a loving people, they're a kind people, and they're people who are passionate about the mission. In the past 6 years, we have seen God grow this church, not just numerically, but in the stories of God's movement in your lives. People who are coming to an understanding of what the mission is, understanding what it means to be a disciple, and an understanding of their spiritual gifts, and putting that into use. And I'm excited that we get to lead together with you, that we get to serve you in this way, in this next chapter, because I'm convinced that the best is yet to come for our church as a whole, but specifically here for Lockport in this region. God is up to something awesome, and I'm just grateful. My wife and I, Kristen, we're just grateful to be a part of that. And as Jonathan has mentioned, this was a stirring process for us. My wife and I, we 2 years ago began to feel that God was stirring, and we just began to pray. We began to pray and seek God out in His Word, saying, God, what are you doing? I'm serving within middle school ministry, and I'm at our Lockport campus. I'm kind of split. My role has taken me away from our Lockport campus a little bit, but our hearts want to be here. So what do you want us to do? And we just surrendered. And that was a 2-year journey for us. Little did I know, at the same time, Jonathan and our leadership were processing some things as well. And it's just aligned for it to be able to work this way, that God would allow me to continue to lead the people who I love. And I just want to say this, this vision, the 5-year vision, it's not just about us, all right, as already been said. The vision for our church and the mission for our church is about us. All right, God is doing something here, and He wants to use you. He is calling you to be a voice, to be a gift set in this community, to do something that we could never do. And I just want to encourage you, as we celebrate, obviously, the change in leadership of this campus today, I want to encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to be seeking God on what is it that He's calling you to do. How is He calling you to be a part of this movement? And maybe if you're kind of like me, kind of confused and not really for sure, saying, God, what is it? Take this with you today. God calls every single one of us to be in His presence so that we can be His presence wherever He calls us. So I want to encourage you, spend time daily with God, seeking out how and where He wants to use you, whose lives He wants you to use, whose lives He wants to impact through your life, and join in on what God is doing here and through this congregation. So we're grateful. Family, we're excited to be able to continue to serve you in this way. And we are tremendously grateful for Jonathan and his ability not only to continue to launch our church in Niagara Falls, but to still be involved holistically with what we're doing here in Lockport and all of the chapel. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.